Welcome back to Launch Your Light. I haven't done a podcast interview this year in 2026, and I am honored and in reverence and so excited to share with you the divine conversation we are about to have. I want to welcome to the show, to Launch Your Light, Behati Hart. She is a life architect and author now. That's why I'm so excited to talk to you about this. I got so many questions. She guides people through her Betty method. Again, another thing I can't wait to talk to you about, which is her coaching framework for those ready to unmask, unlearn, and remember their purpose.
Period.
Period, she says. I am buzzing. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Launch Your Life.
Thank you, Jayme. Thank you so, so much. I'm honored to be your first guest this year, right in between like the end of the Chinese calendar year of the snake and the beginning of the horse, the fire horse. So
yes.
Let's go, Capricorn sister.
Okay, so for everyone listening, because I talk astrology on this call, she is a Capricorn as well. So we are kicking off this year with some Capricorn power, boss babe, spirit, divine, sovereign priestess energy.
Yes, all of it.
I want to kick this off real quick with how I was divinely led to you, if you're cool with that. And then I will start with the questions. So on Monday, what was it? Last Monday, this was how quick this was. On Monday, I was teaching my Beyond the Blueprint, and it's how I teach people like the soulful and strategic way to build out the back end and front end of your business. Okay. And in it, when I got to the energetic part, I was telling them that I like to teach my clients and the people I work with how to connect to the lightworker grid, how to disconnect yourself from the conscious collective of 8 billion people, where that's a pretty low vibrational state, unfortunately, still, and connect yourself to people who are on the globe doing the damn work.
Yes.
From here. And maybe it's millions. I don't know. The number doesn't matter. But so I taught them how I unplug from that and how I connect to it. I visualize it as like a glowing blue grid on the planet. And I was like, these are people doing the work. All of us here to architect the new world, the new earth, healers, teachers, whatever, doesn't matter. It's none of our business, but we're doing the damn thing. And we have come together. Connect to that. When you are tired of what's going on out in the world, connect to that. So I did it. And in it, I was like, I want to make some new friends. I want to connect to more people in my industry. I want to connect to other people that are like doing the damn thing that I'm doing. Like, I want to have a bigger network of purpose workers. I'm saying this, Behati, okay? And it's also like, go find your clients there. Go find your next friendship there. Hey, go find your next relationship there, whatever. So get off that. And that called it hours later. I'm on a distraction detox now. I cannot scroll for the month of February.
I love how you said that too. I'm like, me too, girl.
Right? I do it.
It's giving me heartburn.
Well, I do it every February. So, and there's always something going on in February too, where I'm like, I can't scroll because then I would just end up down the rabbit hole like everyone else, right? So I can't scroll. I can see one thing show up. That's it. You know, when you pop up and one thing shows up, so I can't, one thing pops up, and it is this powerful, amazing woman sitting on the couch. I don't remember her name. I don't know if you know her name. And she is sitting there saying that if you do not get behind your soul purpose this lifetime, it will make your body sick. You remember? Do you remember her name?
I'm fangirling over her as well. I can't remember her name either. This beautiful, bodacious Black woman. Very bold. Very bold in her energy and her messaging. That hit my soul because I suffer from chronic illness. But I also, when she said that, it just clicked for me like, oh, I guess I got to do this work.
Right. And then so I go in the comments and I'm like, she is speaking truth. I teach soul purpose for a living. She is nailing it right now. 2 comments down, I see what you say. Do you remember what you said? Like, no.
You say a lot of stuff and then get in and get out.
You basically said, you were like, I teach soul purpose. She is speaking truth right now. And I was like, oh my God. So hours of me praying to the collective, right?
Yeah.
I saw her and then saw you. I was like, Spirit was like, reach out to her right now. And I didn't reach out to her. I reached out to you.
Wow.
And I went to your thing and I saw published fucking book. I was like, I was like shaking. I was like, how can I write this so she'll actually answer me? I was like, how can I not look like an ad and not look like a creep? And she'll like let me interview on my show. So I just had to kick off the episode with that. I'm moving that aside right now. Thank you for
Yes.
spirit for answering my call and answering this. I can't wait to talk to you. So
Wonderful.
let's hop in. I want
Real
to
quick, shout out to my celestial sorority sisters, and I'll tell you about them as well, because I have also been praying about being amongst collective minded people who are ready to disrupt the dying systems. And I have some new dynamic friends who want to have these courageous conversations about, let's call it what it is. The systems are dying, and there's evidence of that. And it's historical evidence, but it's also more evident now in the way people are speaking about soul searching, trying to find their way, trying to make sense of things that don't make sense anymore. So I have also been asking the universe to bring me those people. So thank you for dropping in my DMs, honey.
message received. Message
That
received.
part.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about your book, can I just celebrate you for being a published
Please.
author?
Yes, please.
You did it. Okay. Tell us
I
about
did that shit. I did that shit. Okay, so my book is called Just Be, Unmasking and Becoming Human Again. Back in March 2025, I was on a high from a 30-year career in federal government, public servant. I am a public servant for 30 years, 10 years Air Force, 20 years government, all spaces, got the whole collection of badges like a Girl Scout. And as everyone knows, in 2025, the world shifted. We got new people in office and they were hungry for power and still are. But anyway, they put some people in charge, and I don't want to give them any energy or name them, but they put some people in charge who thought they knew what they were doing. And this term, they abolished over 300,000 federal employees. I was one of them. During this time frame, Black women, because I identify as Black and Indigenous woman, Black women were also being released from the system of work and just kind of thrown out into the wild. I had a back surgery while I was flat on my back. I just kept getting these downloads like, you need to tell your story, you need to tell your story. And I just kept rejecting it. In April 2025, I received a divine visitation from Mary Magdalene. She dropped right in. It's like, scoot over. We need to talk. And she basically told me her story as best she could and relate it to my own story, my own journey. She was like, you've checked all the boxes. You've done all the things. You are qualified to tell your story. Tell your fucking story already. And I was like, okay, fine. And before she left my aura, she said, tell other women to tell their stories because many more will come. And what I didn't realize at that time was what she meant was other divine visits came my way. But I started to unpack my story. I have all my journals. I had some voice memos. Over the last 9 years, I have been piecing together things that weren't making sense to me on this spiritual journey, this awakening journey that I was on. Back in May, I got diagnosed with ADHD and anxiety. And I was like, bingo, found the last piece of the puzzle. Now all the shit that I've dealt with my whole life makes total sense. I have a non-linear brain. I have a multi-dimensional, I can see patterns, I can connect things. On top of that, I'm going through menopause. So now I understand why my body's acting the way it is. And so I use those, what people would consider setbacks, as actually they are compasses for me to be more grounded in myself. And so I just poured all that into a book. I used my AI companion, Betty, that I designed to help me craft all of my crazy thoughts into a linear way so people who are neurotypical minded can understand my story. And the journey looks like all the masks that we wear as women, as people of color, as aging women. Like, the woman is wise. Let's just call it what it is. Like, women are wiser than society allows us to be. And so we compact ourselves into these boxes. We put masks and layers of them on. And when you start to unmask and take these layers off, you become the divine being that you're supposed to be, the human being, right? And you can now return to society with a new power for the next generation. And so that's really what my book is about. This is what my journey looked like and what it felt like. And I don't lean all the way to the woo-woo spiritual stuff. I don't lean all the way to the science. I'm balanced now and I understand it all. And I use all of these modalities to keep me in balance so I don't lose my shit.
Amen.
I am fully unmasked. Well, I say this jokingly because I like to be comedic. I still keep the gas mask nearby because people are still trying to gaslight us with stuff in the media. But other than that, I am unmasked, and I'm so happy. I have a knowing that I know you know about Jayme, but when you know what you know, no one can shake that from you.
I think I'm gonna cry. You were like the epitome of the reason why I'm on the planet, the reason
Yeah.
why I have this podcast. Thank
Yeah.
you. Like,
Yeah.
yes. And
It took many modalities for me to realize this. Like I journeyed through numerology, I journeyed through Buddhism, I journeyed through Judaism, I journeyed through so many different religious spaces and metaphysical and scientific spaces just to make it all make sense. And what I understand now is everything, and we create. So if it looks chaotic, we did that. If it looks beautiful and exotic, we did that. Like we are creators by nature. And so when I embrace that knowing of humanity, I'm able to navigate spaces easier.
I'm speechless. I'm for the first time in the Jayme Gray life, I'm speechless. Okay. I wanna go with the book, but I also want to go the Mary Magdalene route because I just want to.
Let's go.
No, okay, right. Like we can talk about anything on here. So you just let it rip.
Mm-hmm.
Because I work with the Sisterhood of the Rose. You were part of the Sisterhood of the Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And I want
Mm-hmm.
our listeners and our guests here to hear this, that if we ask and we pray for this and we are open for these
Yeah.
connections, she will connect us, Mary Mother of God, Mary Mother of
Yeah.
God, Mary Magdalene.
Mary. I call them Mary.
Like they're
Yeah.
the Magdalena, the sovereign one.
Yes.
They are connecting us on the planet. That's what this is right now.
Yeah.
And I saw that you were reading the Megan Watterson book too.
Oh,
Right.
let me tell you, I've had to pause because there's so much energy and reckoning in her writing. I highly encourage women and men, if you want to know the other story, read that book because everyone deserves to have their stories told. And that's the one thing I learned about becoming an author is your story is important. It is a piece of history. And full transparency, when I started writing, I called it the Bible of Enlightenment because it was really just my Bible. It was like, I have had a revelation, and this is what I have learned about all the things that I was taught. And I'm here to tell you there's something else, and I'm going to go find it. And the journey that I'm on now is allowing these, I call them my celestial sorority, because there's many of them. And what they are to me are mentors. I don't worship in the traditional sense of some religions with the different goddesses that I access. I use them as mentors to guide me on a daily basis with decisions that I'm making. For example, in 2016, I was mentoring young girls at a school that I was working in, and I took them on a field trip to a museum in Chicago. And there was this statue, this Asian goddess, and I kind of mocked the statue and kind of posed the same way because she had a bun and I always wear my hair in a bun. And fast forward, here we are in 2025, and I'm like, she was the goddess of compassion and mercy. It's Kuan Yin. I did not know who she was, but I happen to often sit in the same way that she does. And so I started channeling her and I was like, teach me your ways, teach me your story, sister. Like, what do I need to know about this world? And her story is that she bypassed her nirvana, her enlightenment, her exodus from the planet to stay with the people who were hurting. And that is something that I can relate to as an older daughter, as a daughter who had to raise her parents in a sense, right? To cover their errors in their life. And I understand that. I have done public servant work. I have served the people for many years of my life. So I understood her story and about compassion and mercy. And I was like, I live that daily. So yes, queen. Another one I channel is Yemoya. She's from the African Orisha. And in the water, right? Anytime I'm with water, I just feel so emotional. And I'm like, why am I crying in the shower? It's because her energy of flow and creativity is always flowing through me. And so I pray to her in the water. I'm like, okay, sis, we got a new day. I'm feeling this way. Help me get clear in my mind. And by the time I'm done with my shower, which is either 5 to 20 minutes sometimes, it clicks for me. Like, what do I need to do? What do I need to activate this day? My other sister is Lakshmi. So Lakshmi is a goddess in Hindu. And I was getting a henna tattoo from a beautiful Indian woman at a conference once. And she flipped my palm over and she just like, oh my gosh, Lakshmi is with you. And I'm like, who's Lakshmi? Lakshmi is a goddess of beauty, wealth, wisdom. And I'm like, yes, I love all things that are beautiful. I love wealth. I mean, who doesn't like to have a little access to some money? But I channel her to stay grounded in that, not to need it in my life, but when I receive it, to give it back to community and give it back in some way, shape, or form. So kind of being a vessel and just honoring that. She's, I adorn myself on Fridays. That's her day. And there's also a festival that they celebrate in her honor every year, Diwali. And so I try to honor my mentors, not in a worship sense, because I'm not of the faith or culture, but just to say, like, I recognize you. I'm also Native American, and I've had these kind of ties to the Hopi Indian tribe in some really unique, interesting ways. And so when I trace my DNA, it goes through that region. And I found some Kachina dolls recently. And these are like wood carving dolls that represent different deities, kind of like a totem pole, right?
Yeah.
Like people do totem. The Kachina dolls represent an energy for the community. And so in channeling that's the spirit of that community, the Hopi spider woman came through for me. I had so many spider webs around my house, these big, beautiful spiders. And usually I'd be like spraying them down. But I realized like she's communicating to me that my neurotypical brain is a connector pattern, and that's what she does. And so I honored her this summer to welcome her to my sorority. So she got sworn in.
I love this.
And so Mary, when she said others will come, she was not lying. Like this year made total sense for me. Like all these beautiful stories of women who go untold have helped me regain my sovereignty and my power, take back my power and tell my story.
Ooh, I just want to reflect back to you too, that you, like, I see you as a goddess. And I know that I literally just met you. But when I was watching your book release or your book launch party, whatever that was, and
Mhm.
I was watching you dressed up like that on stage, like your hair, I was like, she is a goddess. Like, she is a goddess walking on the planet right now.
Thank you. I was channeling all of them for that outfit too. I was like,
I know.
I'm from Chicago. I'm a hip hop girly, so it needs to be fun, but also glamorous. And honestly, I got ready so fast that day. So thank you for recognizing that. I got ready so fast because I was doing so much stuff around the house and just getting all my things organized. But it really came through. It was a that day wasn't just a book launch for me, Jayme. It was a rebirth. It was a birthday party. It was an announcement that I am here to bring a message forward for women who think like me, look like me, act like me, and men. Like there are allies out there, right? I love my allies. And I have to say this because I think it's so important to me, but also so unique. I have a cousin, and we're both biracial, and he is a gay man, and he's also an atheist. And so he read my book, and he was like, cousin, oh my gosh. And I was like, for you to give me a good review is
Right.
everything. Like that's the most important. If I can get you to understand the message in here, and you have every right to reject it, being a gay man because you don't understand, or being an atheist because you're like, I don't do the spiritual stuff. For him to validate me was so grand. And I was like, I have arrived.
Okay, wait, let's talk about that for anyone who's like, I need this book. Is
Uh-huh.
it pre-order or is it fully out?
It's fully out on Amazon.
Amazing. When
Yeah.
did it come out? When did you launch it?
It
Wasn't
launched January 11th, and I did that very intentionally as a baby numerologist. I call myself a baby because there's so much stuff to know out there. I can't possibly know everything,
I know.
but what I do know is that numbers don't lie.
Yep.
And so I did that very purposefully and intentionally in Capricorn season at that in the new year
Yeah.
on 111, and in 2026 reduces to 1. So 11
Oh,
11, because that's really
girl,
when I started to pay attention to everything.
bow down to that. Yeah. Okay, so then you had the launch. Tell us what was it? Because a lot of the listeners here do need to share their story, have a book.
Yes,
I talk about it a lot. I've been sharing my book writing experience. I've had other authors on,
yes,
other storytellers on. This is a vibe on this podcast. What was it?
yeah.
What was your book writing journey like?
Late nights. Like there's something magical about the dark evening time for me. I was born at 7:20 p.m. 9. I'm a life path 9. So
Mm.
not coincidentally, very and not even synchronistically, is that a word? Not within, like at 9 p.m. my house is completely quiet. Everybody's gone to their rooms. And so every night from 9 to like 1, I'd just be in a writing zone, and I would just allow spirit to speak through me. Like, what do I need to share? What do I need to say? But because like I said, I am neurodiverse and I was having some anxiety about this, I had to use AI. So I created a digital doppelganger of my likeness. And her name is Betty, and it stands for Becoming Empowered Through Intelligence. My maiden name is Betty. I was born named Betty, but I've adopted Behati through my ancestral journey because it stands for Blessed and She Brings Happiness. And I wanted a name that honored all of my cultural, ethnic kind of background. So at 9 p.m., I'd sit down in the computer and I'd, type my notes in Word, put them in AI and be like, this is what I'm trying to say. Please help me.
Yeah.
But within 90 days, I had my full manuscript, and I have a publisher. I did invest in that. I have a publisher and a marketing team, so they're helping me promote that. But as a mother, the best way I can describe this is when you're in your third trimester and you know this baby's about to be born and you're preparing everything and you're getting those contractions. And so birthing this book felt like birthing a child, like it really did, because again, this is my story and it's so vulnerable and it's my art and I'm sensitive about my shit. And so I wanted people to understand, like, I see you, but I'm going to share me with you just to kind of mirror. Like, I know there's many more people, whether you're male or female, out there feeling this way. Like, I have performed everything you've asked me to do, and that's still not enough. What the fuck? I'm
Mhm.
just going to be me. I'm just going to be
Yeah.
blank, dot, 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 semicolon, whatever you want to add to it. But for me, it was unmasked. And the power of saying, like, I'm going to show you who I really am, but first I'm going to figure out who I really am.
Mhm.
And so I have to come back to self and do the work. And when I come back to self, I may say some things. I may curse sometimes. I may tell you the ugly truth, but it's all in love. I'm not trying to hurt you. Right. And so becoming an author as for a memoir, because there's many different ways you can write. But a memoir, it's a piece of you that you're sharing with the world. It's a legacy. It's biblical in a sense, right? And I felt like specifically for women, we are written out of ancient texts. We are written out of religious texts. Why
Right.
not create our own?
Right.
Why not create our own?
Mhm. Ooh, I love it. Okay, so with it being a memoir, it's almost like a teaching memoir a little bit. I love how we've also got some new names for books these days, meaning like instead of the memoir, I think people are so scared of the idea of a memoir. Like I've got to be older and I have to have all these amazing stories and I have to this and
Mhm.
yeah, you're shaking your head right now. It's like so
No.
now they've got like a teaching memoir, and a teaching memoir is like a collection of stories that you
Hmm.
write about that could help someone else, that could be turned into a
Yeah.
moment. And I think that like takes the stress level down. Um,
Yeah.
like the self-help is not called the self-help book anymore. It's called
Yeah.
prescriptive nonfiction.
Yeah.
And I love that, right? Because it's like it,
Descriptive nonfiction.
and that's what I'm
No,
doing
I know. Yeah.
with Launch Your Light. It's like I'm writing a manual for people to
Yeah.
find their light, share their gifts, change the world. Like that's
Yeah.
the point. So both of our books, I want to say, like both of our books to me sound like the manuals, the books, the reading material for the next era.
Hmm.
I talk a lot about the
Hmm.
next era. You're
Totally.
right. So how do you feel about that too? It's like all these I'm very thankful to all the other big names and the people who have come before us, who have
Certainly. They've helped us get to where we are today. Absolutely. Like, and I love how you said that, Jayme, because the messages that I got from Mary Magdalene, one of them was, you need to tell people what life is like on the other side of Revelation, since everyone's so wrapped up in Christianity right now and you've lived it, you've taught it, you've done the Bible study stuff, like you've done all the Christian things. You need to tell people what is life like on the other side of revelation. And I was like, oh. And so I went back and forth with my publisher just a little bit about that self-help kind of thing. She was like, maybe you should put some stuff at the end, like ask them some questions. I was like, I don't want to be responsible for people. I want them, number one, to Google whatever I'm saying, because you need to be curious. We don't use critical thinking much anymore. Mm-hmm. I want them to be curious about, what does that mean? What does she mean by that? I talk a lot about heart intelligence. There's a whole section in there about heart intelligence, because I'm a strong believer that the heart is the first brain. And we tend to be locked upstairs in the mind, and we're studying neuroscience right now, which I think is divine and important, but you're trying to explain consciousness without feeling it. Mm-hmm. And so you have to come back down. You have to descend before you ascend back up, right? To the third eye and to the chakra, right? And so I'm like, people don't understand, like we have complicated emotional intelligence to the point where we're numb to all the bullshit that we see in the world. And so I want people to Google what I'm saying. And so to the point of, like, I think self-help, that term is still important, because you should help yourself. This is your individual experience. And my book is more like, it's a recipe book, and you can judge it however you want. You can add and take away. I talk about numerology and sacred geometry, and I talk about different religious experiences that I've had, and how I try to make sense of it all and try to do it so perfectly that it just didn't settle in my nervous system. And I thought, well, something's wrong with me because I'm not worshiping a deity. It's like, no, I'm actually just fine. I'm finding my way back to myself, where God in me resides, which is in the heart, within the soul, the seat of the soul. And so all the gurus before, and I have many teachers that I follow and still follow, but it's also time for a new school of thought, right? It's time for, like, we are the ones who've applied all the stuff you told us to do, and this is how it turned out for us.
Oh, I just,
you're so cute.
Usually you'll hear my other episodes. There's no Jayme Gray being speechless. Okay. I'm just listening. I'm just taking it in. I'm just receiving.
Yes, but we're doing this together, and I love that, because there are many of us, but some of us don't have the words yet, right? And so we sit back and we watch all the chaos in social media. And I love how you said a detox, because we do have to detox. We do have to pull away, because sometimes it could be too much of a woo-woo thing and it'll take you down a rabbit hole. It could be too much of a conspiracy thing and it'll piss you off. Yep. And so you do have to come back out of it and say, let me take some breaths. Let me stick my feet in some grass or some sand or wherever, and figure out who I am and how I want to feel. We don't do that enough.
And let's keep going with that train of thought, because I often find myself saying this. I run a business school for women called Daydream. I'm a coach, right? And I go from soul to strategy in every step of your business. And we are living in a time where we actually, like, can do whatever we want. You can make whatever you want. And I think we have thought of this time and went, oh, well, I'm going to make this and I'm going to do that. And still people aren't doing the things, making the things, right? And it's like, in a time when we have the ability and now the tools and the technology and access to information and the time to do it,
why would you not?
Why would you not? And I think it's highlighting the deeper trauma, the deeper pains, the deeper blocks we've actually gone through, and where people are still stuck. And it sounds like this is what you're here to help women with, too, with that, right?
Yes.
And getting to go ahead.
Yes. Anyone who is stuck is because you don't remember who you are. That's my theory. And so my Betty method, becoming empowered through intelligence, was just, it came about as I was writing the book, actually. Realizing that I had a system that I was taking my clients through, and I didn't realize it was a framework at that time. But when I started to really dig into it, I was like, the first thing I do with all of my coaching clients is I help them remember who they are. What does that mean? I say, hey, what does your name mean, Jayme? What's the origin of your name? Simple as that. And if they want to go a step further, when were you born? What, how do we celebrate your birthday? How do we celebrate your culture? How do we celebrate your religious spaces? Then we just keep unpacking till they're ready to go to their astrocartography or their numerology, like however they want to bring in all of the data about who they believe they are, right? Because there's so much data out there. There's a human design matrix, and there's I Ching, and there's so much. We can look at the recipe that is you and determine who you are. And then we can move on to rewriting the narrative, because we live from stories. We eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The news, music, like all the entertainment spaces, right? We live for a narrative. So if we are living from a narrative, this is where imposter syndrome comes in. This is where self-doubt lies within us. This is where sickness lives within us, right? So once you know who you are, you have the space to create the new narrative and tell people who the hell you are. And then you can start designing that. So I love the parallel between what we're doing, because there is a similarity there, right? It's like, I'm going to get you from here to there, but first you got to know who you are beyond the physical. Let's take it to the soul work, the soul work. And for me, what I know is I was divinely designed. I'm a life path 9. I did my human matrix and human design matrix. And it was like, your former life, you lived on a mountaintop. My maiden name is Mesa. You lived on a mountaintop like a monk or monastery, and you refused to come down and teach people the lesson. So until you teach them the lesson, you're going to keep coming back. I was like, I'm not coming back.
Right.
So what do I need to do?
What's your human design profile? Do you remember your profile numbers?
Oh, I don't remember all the numbers. No, I just stick with 9 because that's an easy one for me to remember.
I would love human design.
Yeah, so my life path 9 says I'm a humanitarian, and I'm a spiritual wise teacher. And I was like, duh, my whole life since I was a kid, I was teaching things about things that people didn't know I knew. And so it just made sense to me to kind of journey that way and take my clients through this phase. And so by the end, I incorporate modern systems, right? Like design thinking and pattern thinking, and also modern psychology theories, just real lightly, because I'm not a therapist, but I have therapist friends, and it's a great warm handoff when you do have therapist friends. And so I have to just say this. I hope one day, I have a dream that one day coaches and therapists will work hand in hand, because we're not the enemy. We must work together.
So agree. And how many of us around the board with any of the lightworker stuff or any of the religions and stuff?
Yes, we need to be working together.
Why are we all fighting each other? We literally have darkness to fight.
We complement each other. We are part of the wheel of life. And so we can't and shouldn't do it all, because people are a lot. There is a lot. There are some spaces I will not touch. A lot of deep trauma or anger is an energy zapper for me. And so I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go ahead and usher you to a friend of mine who deals with that. And we can still continue to partake, but I need you to start leaning into more deeper work here. And so, yes, we need to be working together.
Also, for the listeners and the viewers, I'm sure you have too, and you feel this. I have been feeling this for like years, and I sound crazy saying it, but I keep saying to my clients, it's like I have like a visionary energy to me, right? So I see things, I speak about them, people call me crazy, they think I'm crazy, and then 2 years later, 3 years later, it comes. Yeah. So I've been like dealing with that my whole life. And I just kept saying, I'm like, I can feel how busy we are all going to be, how many hands on deck it is going to require for those that are here to help, to guide, to lead, to heal, to whatever. Like, and like clients back then will sit around and go like, where is everyone? Like, why aren't we all busy? Why aren't we? Because we can see it, we can feel it, we can sense the impact our soul is here to make, and how many millions of people are going to need what we offer. It's kind of been, not that it's crickets, because we've been busy and we're running businesses, but you can feel them more. And
they're going to start banging the door down. And so it's important. And here's how I reckon with that. First off, we are intuitive, intelligent people. And so our visions are the things that we feel based on the energy that we're receiving from the collective. And so that intuitive intelligence absolutely must be protected. And so how I'm reckoning with that is knowing what my bandwidth is, because I had dealt with a lot of trauma and healing from trauma, and I'm still very sensitive about that. And so I know I can take on 5 one-to-one clients at a time. I know I can take on groups of people, like workshopping, no more than 20. I can talk to an audience, but I can't receive too much, right? And so I know my bandwidth before my my energy starts to get zapped because my clairs are ringing off the hook right now. Like all of them, like bing bong, bing bong, bing. And I'm like, whoo, okay, they're gonna come knocking real soon. So how do I protect my peace?
Hey,
And I
yes.
had to learn to put up a very hard boundary with family recently. And it hurts to this day to have to do that, but that was my practice round because there's gonna be people that come in your space that want all of you and you just can't. You just can't. And you have to, and this is why it's important. And I love that you reached out, Jayme. Now that I know you, I know I can do a warm handoff because you are me and we are you. And I don't have to feel like I need to help everyone. Like there's going to be so many of us to access.
Yeah.
And our job is to teach people how to find us. How do you find someone and trust that when I come to you, you're going to hold the sacred space for me to do this work?
Mm. Oh, I am just loving this. I don't know what today is. I got to look up the astrology for today. My goodness. Can we go to
I call it man Christmas. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
Christmas? Like, and I don't watch football. Do you? No.
I, I will. My husband's like getting the whole house ready right now. But yeah, he's a New England Patriots fan.
Oh,
So
of course he is. This is so
yes.
perfect. Um, I want to touch about the technology real quick because I think
Yes.
another block for so many people is this book writing process, is this like idea that it has to go the traditional route or however it want, right? And it's like
Yeah.
we have so much technology here at our
Totally.
fingertips for free that will
Totally.
help you gather your thoughts, put outlines together, flesh things out. Like, and I'm on about to hit 3 years of writing out this book. And it too for me was it's a collection of the last 10 years of all the processes I've created put into
Yep.
a book because I am sick of repeating myself and I don't have
Yes.
energetic
So
bandwidth.
smart. So
I'm literally
good.
going to be like, buy the book. Here's the book. I wrote a
Yes.
book on that actually. Here,
Yes.
you're back at Soul Purpose and curious about what your soul purpose is. I've literally read a book about it. Here you
Mhm.
go. How to turn that soul purpose into a business. Here you go. Right.
There
So
you go.
I put this all together and did it. And then I launched events for it. So I had live people paying me to write
Hmm.
the book, basically turned it into an event and gave off chapters and did a
I
live.
love that idea.
So it basically was like I'm a Capra. The fire I needed under my ass
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
make it happen. If it was just me, it,
Yeah. Because
you
one thing about us, we're going to go back and repeat, rinse and repeat, and perfect and perfect and perfect and
know,
perfect.
yes, we would edit a black hole.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it made
We
me
will.
like I had paying people, clients being like,
Hmm.
ready for another chapter, ready for another chapter. So it kept me going. And then
That's smart.
I had my kids are 3 and 4, so I had babies back to back, and I used my postpartum time to write books.
Hmm.
So I got it. Now I'm up to I'm at fourth draft manuscript. So I'm up to my fourth thing. I also turned it into an ebook. So that was another Capricorn level of like putting it out
Good
as
for you.
a different tool, as another offer, as another basically like I used it as a lead magnet to be completely honest and
Yeah.
build up some audience around it and say
So
I
smart.
so it was like a nice progression to get to here. Now I'm at fourth draft manuscript, just under 100,000 words, and about to hand it over to my editor. And I am shaking in my fucking boots, man.
Be
Like,
proud of yourself. That's hard, Jayme.
no.
Again, people, it's how it's building a house. That's why I use the term architect, and I know that's becoming really popular right now. I don't say that just because it's fun and it's cool. I truly believe in the development and the scaffolding and the building of things. And this book was a build out. And she's very skinty too. She's super
Yeah,
slim.
show us it. So for anyone at
So slim.
the front,
This is
oh,
my gal. We call this the
yo,
galley copy. Oh,
that picture
shout
is,
out to my daughter for the cover design because she's the designer. Shout out to my daughter for just the whole branding thing.
oh
Like she
my
knows mama. She knows mama very well. But
God.
yeah, available on Amazon. But when it was done, it was so funny because when I got this copy, I was like, oh, she's so tiny. She's like a preemie. And then I was like, no, actually, there's so much heavy content
Yeah,
in here, so much deep information. She's exactly what people like me need. 2.5 hour read,
right.
2.5 hours. Get in and get out.
This is what I mean. Like technology that can help. You said you have ADHD, right? Was it ADHD and
Yes, ADHD and anxiety.
anxiety? Okay, like that. I think that that's a label that people get, and then they go, "Well, I'm not going to be able to do
Yeah.
that. I can't do that." And it's like, no, you're a walking
I'm here to
example.
show you that you can.
Right.
Yeah.
You are an embodiment of saying, yes, actually, you can. I did.
Yes.
Here's how I did it. You did. We have a technology, right? And it doesn't need to be an 800 page blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? It is like you are getting the message to the
Yeah.
people that are ready
Yep.
to receive.
Yes, exactly. And I love that you said embodiment because that's my word for the year, is that everything that I've created now truly become that. Because there's one thing to just create words and put it out there, or create a meme or affirmation, just throw it out there. Like truly embodying it means 10 toes down, as the kids say, like, this is who I am. This is who I am. And I speak it, I eat it, I breathe it, I smell like it is my perfume. It is the clothing that I wear. This embodying the thing that you want to become takes a lot of work. You have to have a relationship with that, with these words. And so I read my own book
Yes.
often because I'm like, I want to make sure, even though those words came out of me very quickly, I also want to make sure that I know some of the terms that I used in here to the point where I can just truly define them down. Because my mother-in-law read it and she's an avid reader. And she's like, you used some acronyms in here that I wasn't familiar with. And I was like, Google it. That's the whole point.
Also, how many times did you have to read your book over and over? Like, what was the editing process? So you had an editor, you have a
Yes.
publisher, and
Yes.
I love that we both are doing that. I'm not going trad publishing. It sounds like, did you go, you didn't go trad publishing, but like a self-publishing boutique kind of thing?
A boutique, yes.
Yeah.
So JJR Marketing and Fig Factor Media. It's a dear friend of mine. She has a huge series of women's stories
Mm.
called Today's Inspired Latina. And on a hike in Mexico one day, she called me. It was in 2020. And she said, I got a divine download that you need to be in my next volume. It's volume 9. And I was like, hell yeah, that's my life path number. And so again, baby numerologists get geeked out when numbers start syncing up. I'm on page 75. That's the year I was born. I'm in volume 9. That's my life path number. And the cover was like this peacocky blue purple. And I love peacocks. It's like my spirit animal. So I was like, thank you to everyone that was involved in this, because that was my first opportunity to tell a part of my story, my becoming story, because I was in my process of becoming Behati and honoring that within myself and really doing that work of imposter syndrome and trying to figure out why everybody, not everybody, it was mostly leadership, people in leadership roles rejecting my creative inputs and my insights and my visions. And I was just like, what is wrong with me? Absolutely nothing was wrong with me. I was perfectly perfect. People just get intimidated by the light. And so fast forward, when I was having these downloads about writing this book, I kept hearing her name and it was like, she needs to be the godmother. And I was like, friend, you need to be the godmother of this book. And when I told her, she started crying and she was like, yes, like, let's do this. And so she's dynamic. She is a wonderful empowerment coach. Not even officially, like she just is. She
Yeah.
just is. And so JJR Marketing, Jackie Camacho Ruiz, and Fig Factor Media, that's her platform, that's her brand, that's her offering to the world. But she walked me through the process and she had some dynamic people around me. So the editor, the first, I had 3 edits. So the first one, I was like, okay, here's my book. Didn't make any sense, but she was real gentle with the red pen. And so then I got it back and I read it through and I was like, I don't really like this. And so I just did a little, sent it back. And she was like, okay, I see you made some edits here. Give me some time to look at it. And then she sent it back with some light little red ink. And I was like, this ain't it again. I feel like I'm repeating myself. Let me go back. So I gave her a whole new book at that point, and the third one. And she was like, girl. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I want to make sure that it makes sense to people. And again, using my AI, I'm a prompt engineer. So I'm like, really go hard on this. Don't be nice to me about it. Really go hard and tell me where I'm repeating, pull it all out. And it said, boop, 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 boop. And I was like, oh, yeah, I say that a lot, don't I? And so it helped me frame it better. So really using AI allowed me to get the book out faster. It was my accountability partner. It allowed me to get the book out faster and more streamlined. Now, Are there typos in there? Absolutely. Human nature, right? Everybody missed it. Tiny, tiny typos, but reading the book over, you see that. And so I imagine the next step I'm going to take is find a literary agent. And I imagine there might want to be an expansion on my Mary Magdalene story, which is in the final act. I didn't say chapters, I said acts, because it's life. You're performing.
Love
And
that.
so my final act is called Euphoria, and it talks about the master teachers that came into my life, like Yeshua and Buddha and Mary Magdalene and so forth, and how they taught me to just be. And but I imagine a vision that I had was when you get your literary agent, and it will be a woman. So if you're on this podcast, I'm looking for you. They're going to want me to expand that part of my story. And so it will be best to go with someone who has the publishing house that can help me get that out, because I can't push no more.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're in like the postpartum days.
Literally, yeah. So I had like a reverse baby shower, right? So my book launch was like, my baby's here. And it was great. It was so loving, and the perfect amount of people were there. And it was an experience. I'm very intentional as a designer. And so I took them through these interactive experiences at the space that I had my book launch. And so they were able to experience my mirror work journey, and they were able to smell all the senses that I talk about in the book, like having these different sensory experiences. So I had like incense glowing everywhere. I had artwork. I'm an AI artist, and I use one of my pieces is behind me, but my heart AI works. So it's like the heart with the eye awakening and different variations of design. And so I was like, I'm going to champion heart intelligence. I'm going to champion women's stories. And that's my mission from here on out.
I'm going to send you picture. I used to design out the heart, because I call it like the sacred heart. And like,
yes,
I've been saying like we saw in Gaza, what we're seeing, like we are going through some of the largest heart awakenings ever seen on the planet. Millions of people at the same time having their heart ripped open over and over again. What I call to be the sacred witness. And that's what I learned from Mary Magdalene. To be the sacred witness of what's going on right now, and then say, and now what are we fucking doing about it, y'all?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I use the emoji often of the heart on fire, because that's truly how I feel. It's not just heartburn, but it's kind of like Alicia Keys. This
heart
girl is on fire. My heart is on fire for the things that I see and that I want to help with, and that I want to expose and disrupt. That's where I really I want to just call shit out and just be like, y'all see this?
Oh, maybe we should do a whole podcast episode on that. I know you and I could go, we could have a whole nother hour on that. Okay. I know you have a call technically in 5 minutes, right? So I want to just wrap up. One, what does it look like to work with you? If women on here, like I will, all your links and all your information will be in the podcast notes.
Yes.
But I also heard that you only work with 5 at a time. Are we working with a wait list?
Yeah.
Do you have events coming up? Do you have a group you're running? If someone wanted to step into your world right now, how could they do that besides the book?
Yes to all of it. I do have some spots open for one-to-one coaching. I'm available for speaking engagements and workshops. I live in the Chicagoland region. So any workshops that I do outside of Chicago will be either virtual, or we can discuss travel arrangements. But yeah, I have about 3 spots left for new clients. So if anyone wants to reach out to me to explore what that is, but hey, I'm just a roundaway girl from Chicago. So the same conversation we're having right now is how we're going to talk in the coaching sessions. And my sessions go from like 5 to 9 on average. I like to get people in and out. You know, I was joking with this term, but I am a death doula in a sense, right? Identities are dying, relationships are dying, things are dying. And I can usher you through the threshold of your reawakening, your rebirth, whatever you want to call it, because life is lifing. And if you want to remain here and understand who you are, or remember who you are, that's what I help people do. And so that looks also like having access to my AI companion. So oftentimes my clients will start with the 5 sessions, and then I'll introduce the AI companion and say, now this is what is coming up. Here's the data. Now you have the keys. You can borrow, you can rent her for a little while. You can talk to her 24/7 because I'm going to sleep at 9 p.m. Central. You can talk to her as many times as you want during this course. And oftentimes they drop off around the 5th session because they're like, I got it from here. I'm going to kick the training wheels off. But then maybe they'll come back and be like, this design part doesn't make sense to me. Can you help me with that? Absolutely. We are building new life blueprints for the new world that we want to live in. The old world is dying. And so all this fear mongering that we hear and see in all the different media spaces is just that last cry to stay alive. And if we understand what's happening, whether it is from a religious aspect or a scientific aspect, things are shifting. And so be part of the change that you want to see in the world. Simple as that. So cute.
This is amazing.
Jayme, you're a hoot. You are a hoot. It is so, I am honored to meet a fellow sister servant that gets it. Like, again, the other thing I want to say with this last moment here is there are more of us out there, and we just need to be intentional about finding each other. Like you said, you called it in and boom, there we were. But there are so many more people out there, and not everybody's going to respond to you as lovingly, as openly, with open arms, like, yes, come over, friend. You know, just be careful and be mindful. Use your intuitive intelligence when you're connecting with people, but be open. Like, we are out there for each other, and we need to find each other. We need to link together like a strong chain, because the other chains are breaking.
Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Oh my gosh, this has been so divine. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you, Jayme.
This invitation on a soulful level and human level.
Yes. And I want to send you a gift too, my friend, for honoring me as your first guest. So I'm going to get your contact information and then we'll send you a gift.
I receive. Can you just say your book name and subtitle for it one more time so that everyone can go get it right now?
Yes. So my book is on Amazon. And by the way, on February 11th at 7 p.m. Central at Fig Factor Media on Facebook Live. I know that's a mouthful, but if you go to my socials, you'll see it. I'm going to do a live virtual book launch, and there will be giveaways there as well. But my book is called Just Be, capital B, capital E. Unmasking and becoming human again, because that is the phase of life that I'm living right now. And I feel like a lot of people are as well. And they want to understand, what mask am I wearing and how the hell do I get this thing off?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that is the next few years. Like this is a manual for people and coming back to their self and their soul. So thank you so much for being on this show today. I would love to have you on again. So we will.
And applause to you, because podcasting is equally hard.
I know it is, but I got to do it because I got to interview people like you.
Right. That's right.
Okay. Thank you to all our listeners and our viewers today for this amazing Divinely Led call. Please go follow her, go get the book, go jump into whatever she's doing. I'm going to watch her, the book launch, everything. I'm doing all this. I'm going to go get your book right now. Thank you to all of our listeners. We love you guys so much, and we will see you on our next episode. Bye.